Last year, thousands of EV owners woke up to a car that changed faster and delivered more range without visiting a single dealership. One overnight software update. That's it. That's how fast EV technology is moving right now. And in 2026, the changes go far deeper than a software patch. If you own an EV, plan to buy one, or you're still on the fence, what's happening this year changes everything. Let's get into it. Why 2026 is a turning point for EV technology. Here's the thing about EV progress. It doesn't move in a straight line. It builds slowly, then jumps. 2026 is a leap year. The headlines focus on new models, and there are plenty of those. But the real story is underneath. Charging speeds that are genuinely rewriting what range anxiety means, battery chemistry shifting towards longer life and lower cost, software that's now smarter than most owners realize, and a power grid that's starting to work with EVs instead of just for them. These aren't promises anymore. They're production realities, and together they're pushing electric vehicles into a phase that even skeptics have to take seriously. Faster charging than ever before. If you haven't looked at charging speeds recently, the numbers will surprise you. 350 kilowatt charging, which was considered extreme just 2 years ago, is becoming a standard spec on flagship EVs in 2026. The new BMW iX3, arriving early this year, supports DC fast charging up to 400 kilowatts. That's enough to add over 230 miles of range in 10 minutes. Read that again, 10 minutes. The charging curve improvements matter just as much as the peak number. Earlier EVs would charge quickly to around 30 or 40%, then slowly dramatically as they approach 80. Newer thermal management and battery management systems keep the charge rate high for much longer through that 10 to 80% window, which is where most real-world fast charging happens. The Sakota Epic, one of 2026's most affordable new entries, hits 10 to 80% in just over 20 minutes at 133 kilowatts. That's a compact, budget-positioned EV delivering charging performance that would have impressed premium buyers just a few years ago. The practical result? Charging anxiety is shrinking, not because people are getting used to it, but because the actual time required is getting short enough to stop being a real objection. The shift toward LFP batteries. Most mainstream buyers have never heard of LFP. That's changing. Lithium iron phosphate batteries, LFP, are showing up in more and more affordable EVs in 2026. And the reasons are straightforward. They last longer than traditional lithium-ion cells, the chemistry is inherently more stable and faster, and they cost less to produce. For manufacturers trying to hit lower price points without cutting range, LFP is becoming the obvious answer. There's also a charging habit change that comes with LFP. Unlike standard lithium-ion cells, which wear faster if you charge to 100% regularly, LFP batteries handle full charges better. You don't need to babysit the charge limit the same way. The Geely EX2, landing in the UK in autumn 2026 as a direct competitor of the Renault 5 and BYD Dolphin, runs on lithium iron phosphate cells. So does an increasing share of the sub-€25,000 segment across multiple brands. If you're buying an affordable EV in 2026, there's a real chance it's LFP under the hood. That's a good thing, both for your ownership experience and the long-term health of your battery. Early solid-state progress. But not what you think. You've probably seen the headlines. Solid-state batteries, 500-mile range, 10-minute charging, revolutionary. Here's the honest version. Those claims are real, but the timeline requires context. Toyota has solid-state vehicles entering limited production in 2026. The third-generation Nissan Leaf, also launching this year, uses next-generation battery cells from Nissan's new Sunderland Gigafactory that push towards semi-solid-state technology. QuantumScape's QSE5 battery, currently in advanced testing with Volkswagen's manufacturing arm, can charge from 10 to 80% in 12 minutes, while retaining 95% capacity after more than 1,000 cycles. These are real numbers from real testing, but limited production means exactly that. The solid-state era isn't fully here yet. What 2026 represents is the end of the prototype phase and the beginning of the production ramp. A distinction that matters because it means the technology is proven it's just not scaled. Bidirectional charging goes mainstream. This one changes what an EV actually is. For years, an electric car did one thing with electricity: consumed it. In 2026, that relationship is flipping. More and more new EVs now support bidirectional charging, the ability to push electricity back out of the battery rather than just into it. The practical applications break into three categories. Vehicle to load means you can power devices, tools, or appliances directly from your car, useful on job sites, at campsites, or during a power outage. Vehicle to home means the car can function as a backup power source for your house when the grid goes down. Your EV keeps the lights on. Vehicle to grid is the bigger picture. Your car feeds electricity back into the grid during peak demand periods. And in markets where V2G programs are running, you get paid for it. Early estimates suggest earnings of £500 to £1,000 annually for drivers who participate. The Hyundai Ioniq 9, arriving in UK showrooms in early 2026, supports full bidirectional charging. The new BMW iX3 does too. Vehicle to load, vehicle to home, and vehicle to grid, all standard. Your EV is no longer just transportation. In 2026, it's becoming a mobile energy asset. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button to stay connected with us. Smarter software and AI range prediction. One of the most frustrating experiences for EV drivers has always been the range estimate. You leave home with 200 miles showing on the dash, an hour of motorway driving in cold weather, and it's dropped 80 miles for a 50-mile journey. The software in 2026 EVs is addressing this directly. Weather-adjusted range estimates now account for temperature, wind, and precipitation in real time, not just a flat efficiency calculation. Dynamic route planning suggests charging stops based on your actual destination, the real-time charge rate you'll get at each station, and the electricity pricing at those locations. AI-driven battery health monitoring tracks degradation patterns over time and adjusts estimates accordingly. If your battery is performing slightly below its rated capacity due to age or previous charging habits, the car knows, and the range number you see reflects that reality rather than the factory spec. Honda, Mercedes-Benz, and Volkswagen are all embedding large language model-based assistants that handle in-car navigation, energy management queries, and maintenance guidance through natural conversation. NVIDIA's Alpha system, a 10 billion parameter model designed specifically for automotive decision-making, is being adopted by multiple manufacturers to power real-time driving intelligence. The car is becoming predictive. It's not just reacting to conditions anymore, it's anticipating them. Over-the-air updates are now standard. Gas cars don't improve after you buy them. EVs increasingly do. And in 2026, over-the-air updates are no longer a Tesla-only feature. BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Hyundai, and Kia all have comprehensive OTA update systems rolling out or already in operation. That means efficiency improvements, charging optimizations, new features, and software refinements land on your car overnight, without a dealership visit. This matters more than it sounds. Manufacturers have already demonstrated the ability to push meaningful range improvements through software alone, not by changing the battery, but by optimizing how the battery management system operates. Some brands have delivered 5 to 10% real-world range gains post-purchase through a single update. Go into your vehicle's software settings right now and confirm automatic updates are turned on. If you've been on manual, you could be sitting on improvements that have been available for months. Improved thermal management systems. Most drivers never think about this. They should. The battery in your EV has a narrow temperature window where it performs best, roughly 15 to 35 degrees Celsius. Too cold and charge speeds drop. Range shrinks and battery management system gets conservative. Too hot and you're accelerating degradation with every charge cycle. The thermal management systems in 2026 EVs are significantly more sophisticated than anything from 3 or 4 years ago. They precondition the battery before fast charging sessions to keep the charge curve high throughout. They manage heat distribution more precisely during aggressive driving. In cold weather, they warm the cells using grid energy during charging, not battery energy. So you arrive at a faster charger with a battery that's ready to accept power quickly. The real-world impact shows up in two places. Winter range loss is reduced, and charging consistency at DC fast chargers improves. Meaning the speed you expect is the speed you get, not a slower rate because the battery was too cold when you arrived. This technology runs silently in the background. You don't manage it, you just notice the car works better in more conditions. Lightweight platforms and efficiency gains. In 2025 and 2026, multiple manufacturers shifted to ground-up EV-specific platforms. Architectures designed from the start around electric drivetrains rather than adapted from existing combustion car structures. The results show up as efficiency gains rather than just range numbers. The new MEB Plus platform used by Volkswagen, Cupra, and Dakota across several 2026 models is lighter and more aerodynamic than the original MEB architecture. The Dakota Epic achieves up to 267 miles of range from a 55 kilowatt-hour battery, a ratio that would have been impressive on a much larger pack just 2 years ago. BMW's new A Class A platform, debuting in the iX3, cuts drivetrain energy losses by 40% compared to the previous generation. That's not a marketing rounding. That's a fundamental improvement in how efficiently the system moves electrons from the battery to the wheels. The practical point? In 2026, a longer range doesn't always mean a bigger battery. It increasingly means a more efficient car that matters for charging costs, battery longevity, and the long-term cost of ownership across the life of the vehicle. Efficiency is the new arms race, and the cars winning it are doing it without inflating battery size. What this means for buyers in 2026. If you've been waiting for the right moment to buy an electric car, the picture in 2026 looks different from any previous year. Charging is faster in ways that are no longer theoretical. The 10 to 80% window at a fast charger is shrinking toward 20 minutes on mainstream vehicles and approaching 10 on flagship ones. The network of ultra-rapid chargers is expanding. The UK alone is pushing toward 5,000 units capable of 150 kilowatts or more by mid-year. Batteries are lasting longer and costing less to produce. LFP chemistry in affordable models means less degradation anxiety. Solid-state prototypes in production confirm where the technology is headed, even if the mainstream version is still a few years out. Software matters more than any single hardware spec. The car you buy in 2026 will be meaningfully different, and in many cases better, in 2 years than it is the day you drive it home. That changes what buying an EV actually means. The hesitation most people felt about EVs 2 or 3 years ago was reasonable. The charging infrastructure was patchy. The range numbers required trust, and the software was inconsistent. Most of that hesitation is harder to justify now. The technology has caught up with the promise. In 2026 is the year that the gap closed. The bottom line? EV technology doesn't move the way most industries do. It builds quietly, then accelerates in ways that surprise even people who are paying attention. Drop a comment below. Are you already driving electric? Or is 2026 the year you're finally making the switch? And if you found this useful, subscribe for more content that cuts through the noise and tells you what these changes actually mean on the road.